Hello, today we're going to be talking about lipids. Lipids are typically your fats, oils, phospholipids, which we'll talk more in depth about when we talk about cells, steroids, and waxes. As for its function, it's long-term storage for energy and carbon. And if you remember, carbohydrates' function was just energy. Okay? It also is going to function as building of structural parts within the cell. Now, the elements that lipids contain is C, H, and O. If you think about it, that makes sense because carbohydrates is also CHO, and their function is energy. And we know if we eat too many carbohydrates, it turns into fat. Now, before with carbohydrates, we had a ratio. We had a 2-to-1 ratio between hydrogen and oxygen. We do not have a ratio for lipids. An example of a chemical formula of a lipid is C57H110, and then we have hope I can fit it, 6. This is actually triestyrene, which is the beef fat, that white fat that when you cook a steak that you see. So again, there is no ratio in the lipids. Lipids do not dissolve in water, and if you ever have oil and water and you shake them, they will eventually separate. And their main thing that they're made up of is fatty acids and glycerol. Now, glycerol is a 3-carbon molecule, and fatty acids are very long chains, and we typically have 3 fatty acids to the 1 glycerol. Okay? Just so you're aware, 1 gram of fat stores more than twice as much energy as a gram of starch. Now, when we talk about fats, we have 2 main types of fats or fatty acids. We have saturated fatty acids and we have unsaturated fatty acids. Now, I want you to note the difference. Saturated fatty acids is very linear, okay? Where unsaturated have these what are called kinks, and that makes it a little bit more spread out. A phospholipid, and that's what's made up of the cell membranes, contains a phosphate group, a nitrogen, and 2 different fatty acids with the glycerol. And this is what makes up the cell membrane. The cell membrane has these structures that look like this on either, and I'm sorry about my drawing, I'm pretty awful, but that's what the phospholipid membrane would be like. It's called a lipid bilayer. Okay, now again, we have the basic building blocks of 1 glycerol and 3 fatty acids. And again, we do need to remove our water, and this is what our triglyceride or our fat would look like. Okay, so in general, if it is a solid, then that is a lipid that's been produced by an animal, like butter. If it is a liquid like oil, it's produced by a plant. And if it's both, we call it a wax. There's earwax, there's waxy coverings over fruit for protection. Okay, so just in general, fats are made up of 3 fatty acids and 1 glycerol. And again, the glycerol is smaller with 3 carbons, and the fatty acids are longer. So 2 types of fatty acids. We have saturated fatty acids and we have unsaturated. Now, saturated fatty acids have single bonds between its carbon. Now, when we showed you the picture, the single bonds was very linear, okay, with there's the glycerol and the 3 fatty acids. So that would make them solid at room temperature. If it's solid at room temperature, it's animal. So our examples are butter and lard. Now, unsaturated fatty acids may have double bonds. It may have 1 or maybe polyunsaturated, which would mean many double bonds. So you have your glycerol, you have your carbon change, and they start to kink out, and it's making it very wide and spread out. Okay? So again, the carbon to carbon bonds with the double bonds kink it out, making it liquid or oils at room temperature. And if it is oil or liquid, then it would be produced by a plant. So we have many different types of oils that could be called. So some other examples of lipids are phospholipids. And I kind of went through and showed you that we have a lipid bilayer in our cell membrane. Okay, there is the glycerol, 2 fatty acids, and the phosphate. And we'll talk more about this structure when we talk about the cell. We also have the glycerides, which is an energy source or insulation. Fat stored is actually physical protection. And in order to use the energy within it, we need to break down the glycerides or the fat. Prostaglandin is something that is released when we're in pain, women who are giving birth, when they're having their labor contractions. And it's also a hormone that's going to help prevent stomach ulcers. So this is fatty acids that have their carbon atoms joined in a ring. Another example is the steroid, and that is a 4-ring skeleton. And our most important one is cholesterol. That's found in the membrane of the cell. It's different hormones. Some people have high cholesterol and so forth. Plants don't have cholesterol. That's one thing to know. Okay. And the last one we'll talk about is wax. This is typically waterproof. We find that in fruits, the covering, the feathers of birds, your earwax, the honeycomb that bees would produce. Okay, now we are going to be doing an activity with breaking down fat, and I know that you guys are going to absolutely love that tomorrow. So if you have any questions at all, please see me in class tomorrow. Great, thanks.